All right. Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome to another episode of the Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast, where we believe most high net worth individuals and those who help them, they struggle with clarifying their capital gains tax deferral options. Today is a very special day. We have the brand new book. Oh my gosh, it's blowing up. In fact, we just announced that we have ranked number one in the wealth category as of today. Really exciting for Amazon Kindle books. You can still get your free copy. We're giving away a free copy on Amazon just for today, April 20th, with the next few hours. So you can go on there, you can download it. But that means the world to us. But I think you're going to love it because we have amazing people, just like our guest coming up right now. He's a certified financial planner. He is one of our best strategic alliances. He's become a good friend, and he's just an amazing individual. I want to welcome to the show with me, please, Jake Mellor. Jake, how you doing?
Doing very well, Brett. Thank you so much for that introduction. Happy to be here today, and very, very happy that the book has finally come out. Very nice of you to include a little bit of me there in your book. In fact, I think you gave me an entire chapter. Is that right?
I did. You had an entire chapter about how the DST is a game changer, which is what we're going to be talking about in today's book. But before we go today's podcast episode, but before we go there, Jake, could you give our listeners just a little bit more about your background and your current focus?
Absolutely. So I specialize in tax advantaged wealth management. What is that? That's a combination of two disciplines, right? My education is business administration, master's in accounting, CPA candidate, CFP, help a lot of individuals, including other professionals, do a better job. I say better job, or just unlock or demystify some of those higher level strategies that not everybody does every day.
And by the way, he does that in such an eloquent way, and such a masterful way, and like really next to anyone I've ever met. And in fact, we spend so much time together on deals all the time. I mean, I feel like every day we're working on another deal together. But especially on Fridays, by the way, I want to invite everybody. We have our Capital Gains Tax Solutions Mastermind. It's in partnership with Strategic Tax Solutions, which is Jake Mellor. And so we talk every week. And if you're curious about that, go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com and you can register. We do that on Zoom, where we talk about the Deferred Sales Trust and all kinds of different things. That being said, Jake has chapter 5 in the book, right? And it's called How the Deferred Sales Trust is a Game Changer. And so, Jake, what's the number one secret to understanding why the Deferred Sales Trust is a game changer?
It's important to understand that when you're about to experience perhaps the largest transaction of your life, or one of the largest transactions, that perhaps you need to level up and get some advice that you don't receive every single day. Again, you don't have this transaction every day. One of the most important things that makes this a game changer is that the Deferred Sales Trust allows you to reinvest with the gross proceeds of the transaction minus minimal attorney fees, rather than subtracting out big chunks of your piece of pie to pay taxes, right? So you are allowed to defer the recognition of the transaction that normally you'd have to incur this year and pay taxes on. You're allowed to defer that forward and reinvest to continue to grow your assets, continue to grow your investment, continue to grow your wealth.
Yeah, so that's fantastic. And by the way, if you're curious about that, up to 100% of your capital gains tax can be deferred on stock, businesses, cryptocurrency, primary homes, investment real estate, can save a 1031 exchange. And what's unique about that is not only can you sell, but the second game changer, I'm curious, Jake, once the funds are there, what makes the DST a game changer as it pertains to options?
Once the funds are there, you are allowed to then diversify your asset class. A lot of the times when it's the largest transaction of your life, or a substantial transaction, it's time to reallocate amongst other asset classes. It might be your personal residence, it might be your business. If it's your business, for a lot of entrepreneurs, which we speak to a lot of entrepreneurs, their nest egg, their retirement, the bulk majority of all their assets have been locked up in their business all their life, all their working career. And now it's time to splay it out, right? Sell that business and invest in real estate, invest in other assets. You can't really do that in a very easy way with a lot of other tax strategies.
Talk about the timing aspect of that, right? And like when you would do that, and how flexible the DST provides a game-changing way to do it different times, especially given the times we're in right now with uncertainty in real estate and the stock market and banking? What's the DST allow you to do as far as timing?
When it comes to large sales that would normally incur capital gains, Brett, the deferred sales trust starts to become a little bit of this keystone, like in an arch, the keystone strategy, where all other strategies kind of pivot off of it. And to answer your question, you're able to be in control now of the timing. And that's why it becomes the keystone strategy, because everything else starts to revolve around it. Now you don't have to have any 45-day window, 180-day window. You don't have to sell in a high market and then buy in a high market. You can actually sell when it's the right time to sell, not put off the sell because you're afraid of paying taxes. You're able to receive those proceeds into the trust and then utilize the trust to reinvest those assets in a number of different asset classes without being penalized by typical and standard or well-known tax strategies that are out there that are still applicable, but at an appropriate level. Rather than trying to make a square peg fit in a round hole and all in one, you can actually utilize the other tax strategies at an appropriate level now, because you have the control and power over the timing of when you reinvest. You can find a deal that's a good deal rather than being forced into a deal because of time restrictions.
Yeah, very well said. In fact, in part of the book, and Jake's in the chapter 5 of the book, and it's building a capital gains tax exit plan. And by the way, you can get your free Kindle version right now if you're listening to this live, or in the next 12 hours on April the 20th, 2023, just in time for tax season, by going to Amazon and searching one day only free Kindle version by searching building a capital gains tax exit plan. But I think this is really interesting. You were a part of a group that, coached and was a part of masterminding over 10,000 accounting firms. And as a part of that, you coached the top 400. And you say, sometimes you go to these dinner seminars with some attorneys and they end up being some kind of a kooky thing, or maybe it's just so new that the IRS hasn't tested it out, or they haven't done it thousands of times, and you can't really give it advice on something if it hasn't been through the filter. It makes you wonder, is it a safe thing? That was my job. This is Jake speaking, not only to answer the questions, but to do the due diligence on the various strategies we come across. And I was doing that on the strategy. And in my research, I came across the Deferred Sales Trust. And it wasn't even on the table at the moment, but I looked into it further because it seemed very interesting. And essentially, you go on to say the Deferred Sales Trust has a 100% track record with the IRS to date. And this caused you to look into it even deeper. And part of that is because it has no change, no finding audit. So Jake, what do you say to the people or the person listening to this that says, Jake, it just seems too good to be true. How do I know it's legal? And how do you have the conviction beyond what I just said here? You want to add any more color to this?
Absolutely. The proof is in the pudding, they often say, right? We have to know and analyze that there is a test of time. If something's been around long enough, if there's been thousands of instances of it, if the IRS has actually taken notice of it or has actually audited it, something more than just a cursory review, but like a deep nuts and bolts audit type of a thing, all of that has occurred and has passed with the Deferred Sales Trust. And I want you all to know that it is incredibly rare for any strategy to be considered bulletproof, because there's always instances of when it works and when it doesn't. It's very, very, very rare that it has always worked. For it to have always worked, it has to be very well protected. When I say protected from like a quality control standpoint, meaning that it's always done within certain parameters all of the time and nobody's abusing it. And that is where lie the Deferred Sales Trust. It has been well protected over the years. Typically, there's one group of attorneys, there's one buffet of attorneys that is out there that protects the quality and ensures that every single time it fits within these parameters, that it's not done or utilized for anybody that is not eligible. That those people who are eligible, it's done in such a way that it can be protected, it can be defended in court, and it has been defended. It has been reviewed or audited over 22 times in the last 26 years, and it has passed with zero findings, zero changes every one of those times.
Yeah, and that's what gives us confidence too. And until it fails or something changes, there's no reason to fear what you don't know. Obviously, do your due diligence and get your CPA to come in and to talk and ask the good questions you should be asking anyways, regardless of any strategy. But find out, is there lifetime audit defense? Are they going to stand behind the work? Have they defended their clients previously? And with the Deferred Sales Trust so far, the answer is yes to all of those with the tax attorneys. And it's perfect, batting 1,000. It's worked. That being said, we're running out of time, Jake Mellor. Any last thoughts you want to add to the Deferred Sales Trust that we haven't already asked? And then remind everyone where they can find you.
Mostly just want everyone to know that if you are looking at perhaps a transaction, considering selling something that would incur a lot of capital gains tax, you might want to consider the Deferred Sales Trust, but do it with some time. When I say with some time, if your transaction is tomorrow, you don't have time to get educated necessarily, right? We don't want you just to make a decision based off of trust and good looks, right? We want you to make sure that you make a conscious, deliberate decision based on the facts. For you to learn the facts, come to the table. If you feel inadequate to understand all of the facts yourself, which is common, bring your counselors, bring your advisors, come with your group and learn. We are an open book, no pun intended, with Brett's book coming out, but come and learn and see what you can and get educated as to what the Deferred Sales Trust can do before, during, and after the transaction. And, we offer education for free. So tune in. You can find us at capitalgainstaxsolutions.com, as well as my page, which is strategictaxsolutions.com. Come and learn more and book an appointment.
Perfect. Thank you, Jake Mellor. Thank you for being a part of the book. Thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being a great strategic alliance. Thank you for serving clients at a high level and being who you are. We just appreciate the gifts you've been given and everything you're doing to serve others. And so that being said, thanks everyone for listening. Get the book, hurry, and appreciate the support out there. And we will talk to you again real soon. Bye.